Hurricane Ian bears down on Florida. Hear from a local family on vacation there, still trying to get out.
Plus, the city of Middleton trying something new this upcoming election, asking for additional funding for basic city needs.
And later, Governor Evers making a campaign stop right on State Street, meeting with grassroots supporters and students. You're watching News 3 Now at 10. Well, thanks for joining us. New incredible satellite imagery tonight. Look at the lightning-filled Hurricane Ian churning and gaining strength in the Gulf of Mexico. It is forecast to make landfall sometime tomorrow night. And check this out. Video released today by NOAA showing hurricane hunters flying right into the eye wall of the storm. Airlines canceled over 1,000 flights today in the U.S. Tomorrow, several others are canceled. Florida airports are halting operations as they brace for impact. The storm is forecast to become a dangerous Category 4 hurricane ahead of its making landfall.
Well, more than 2 million people are also under mandatory or voluntary evacuation orders. This video right here from Key West today, and that is where a local man and his family are currently stranded as the hurricane draws closer. McKenna Alexander shares how they are managing. McKenna.
Yeah, those canceled flights are exactly the reason they're stranded. And in just the past hour, we've learned the power has gone out at the bungalow where this family is staying in the Florida Keys, only making matters worse for a family vacation that's now been forcibly extended.
I've never personally experienced anything of this severe weather-wise before.
For Roderick Richardson, he was looking forward to a trip in the Florida Keys with his mother, his kids, and his grandkids. But that trip turned sour as Hurricane Ian grows closer.
But I guess it's similar to in Madison. You know, we experienced severe snowfalls and severe cold. Here it's another type of severe weather that we all have to deal with.
Roderick's son actually won the Florida vacation during his time on the Price is Right game show. The trip was booked earlier this year, well before Hurricane Ian formed, with family members arriving on Thursday and Friday of last week.
When we got here, we were able to have a couple of good days where we did do touristy sightseeing, but then it went downhill.
He notes the hotel has been accommodating even after all the employees called in given the weather. Now, after 2 missed flights, Roderick and his family are hopeful they'll be able to leave soon. In the meantime, Roderick says the family has been passing the time with different types of games and by drinking what he'll only jokingly refer to as beverages. So Roderick is able to look on the bright side, within reason.
This has given us an opportunity to come together as a family. On the other hand, we want to get out of here.
Roderick's rescheduled flight should be leaving Thursday, and his kids should be able to leave on Friday.
Well, several people and companies from Wisconsin are also pitching in to help with storm preparation and upcoming relief efforts. Generac, an energy technology company specializing in backup power solutions, is heading down to Florida. The company is taking a team of volunteers and generator repair parts to the southern state to help in any way possible. Many emergency workers are already in Florida. Today, we're getting this behind-the-scenes look at the preparations by the National Guard. In this video, we see soldiers loading up heavy machinery and get training with debris clearing equipment.
And as of this morning, NASA has secured its Artemis 1 rocket back inside its vehicle assembly building in Florida. It took a 4-mile ride from the launch pad back to the facility, which started about 11:30 last night. It ended after 9 this morning. And after the upcoming storm passes, teams will conduct inspections to determine impacts at the Kennedy Space Center and also establish a forward plan for the next launch attempt. Well, here is a bit of positive news. Hurricane Ian is not expected to impact gas prices in the U.S. BP and Chevron have evacuated their crews from offshore and natural gas fields in the Gulf of Mexico for safety reasons, but the storm's path is not projected in that area. Analysts say the loss of roughly 485,000 barrels a day from those evacuations will be minor for overall production. As always, stay up to date on everything Hurricane Ian, and be sure to follow Channel 3000 online and News 3 Now on air.
And let's get a closer look at Ian's path. Here's Julian Seawright with our first warn forecast.
Well, like as we had mentioned, Ian is now a Category 3, but could strengthen into a Category 4 by the time we get into our Wednesday afternoon, which could also be tracking itself into the parts of Florida, which is just about south of Tampa. So let's go ahead and take a look at its path in itself. By the time we get into about our Wednesday afternoon, we are looking for it to be potentially a Category 4 with this current forecast. However, also note it's still just about south of Tampa Bay, so it might not hit dead on to where Tampa is, but Tampa could still feel quite a bit of the impacts from it, especially areas just on the shoreline where we are looking for the most concern, as storm surge could reach about 12 feet, but the range is from 6 to 12 feet of storm surge that could be impacting those shorelines once again. Now, as we take a look closer into our local weather for us, well, folks, the chill is on. We have areas of frost that are going to be impacting us tonight, tomorrow morning, Wednesday night, and for our Thursday morning. We're looking at temperatures to drop into the mid-30s for many of us tonight, and it's going to be the same as we get into our Wednesday night. As you can see from the highlighted areas on your screen, that's where we're going to be looking for the areas of concern for our frost advisory. But we have friends into the central and northern parts of Wisconsin, which are under a freeze advisory, as we're going to see temperatures dropping into the upper 20s by the time we get into the overnight hours. We'll be planning this out just in a few moments. Until then, let's toss it back to you guys.
New at 10 on the campaign trail, Governor Tony Evers making a stop at a local coffee shop tonight just off the UW campus on State Street. There he met with UW students and grassroots supporters. He talked about what's at stake in this upcoming election, including women's rights, marijuana legalization, and the ability to appoint UW regents.
If we don't win this race, it'll change the face of the University of Wisconsin system, all the campuses that we're talking about. It certainly will be an issue around reproductive rights. You will not see anybody working towards the legalization of marijuana. But most importantly, your lives as students going to a top-class, world-class university will change.
And on the Republican side, Senator Ron Johnson today announced the backing of the Milwaukee Police Association. The group represents the rank-and-file cops in the state's largest city and has endorsed Johnson over his challenger Mandela Barnes. They say Senator Johnson backs them and has helped get the tools they need to do their job. For his part, Barnes has been endorsed by his own coalition of law enforcement, which includes a handful of sheriffs, including those from Rock, Greene, and Milwaukee counties.
All records from the now closed Republican-ordered investigation into the 2020 presidential election in Wisconsin are being uploaded to a website. That investigation was led by former Wisconsin Supreme Court Justice Michael Gableman, who was eventually fired. Gableman's probe did not uncover any widespread fraud in the 2020 election. The House Select Committee investigated the January 6th Capitol riots, postponing its hearing scheduled for tomorrow. That's because of the hurricane. One of the committee's 9 members, Democratic Representative Stephanie Murphy, represents a district that includes parts of Orlando, and she likely would not have been able to attend tomorrow's hearing. Another referendum on the ballot this November, this time in Middleton, and that's to address a citywide staffing shortage.
In order to cover the cost, residents will see their yearly property tax bill go up. It is the first time the city's posed a referendum like this, but as officials told our Arman Rahman, it's necessary to keep up city services.
Yeah, Charlotte, over the last 5 years, Middleton's population has gone up 14%, but this year alone, the city's lost 29 positions. So the referendum in November will add 2 more police officers, a city communications specialist, and parks crew member by raising the yearly tax levy by $770,000.
It's going to go down a slippery slope that I really never wanted to see in Middleton.
Police Chief Troy Hillenbrand says as the population of Middleton's gone up, so have the calls for incidents like violence and mental health crisis.
So as a police department, we're really seeing the stress on the staff.
But if he continues with just 39 patrol officers,
there are a number of calls for service that we are looking to cut in 2023 if we can't add staff. Possibly responding to EMS calls. We'll stop doing that. So not responding to fire calls. We currently do lockouts as a public service that we'll probably have to look to eliminate.
It's not just growing pains. Alder Kathy Olson says the job market has caused more city employees to leave.
We've lost 29 positions in this year alone. 17 full-time staff have left.
That's why a referendum is on the November election ballot to boost city staffing. It also calls for a 4% increase in non-union city wages.
We will be faced with the problem of Are we going to be able to retain our employees? Are we going to be able to attract new employees for this?
But citizens will have to pay for it.
We've not gone to voters before to ask for an operating referendum, so this is unique, and we fully recognize that this is something challenging that we're asking people to consider.
The referendum will increase property taxes by $20 a year per $100,000 in property value.
I don't know that there's any other ways. We've looked at all number of ways of raising revenue, beyond a referendum. Those options like a wheel tax and other things just don't work to provide the level of revenue that's needed to sustain these.
City Administrator Brian Gettow says without the referendum,
we'll have to have some hard conversations about what services we continue to provide.
And if the referendum passes, taxpayers will start seeing their property taxes go up in December.
Armand, thank you. The Swedish Coast Guard today releasing this video of bubbles churning up the Baltic Sea. That's above the leaking Nord Stream 1 and 2 pipelines. Danish armed forces say the largest gas leak has caused a surface disturbance of more than a half-mile in diameter. Earlier in the day, Denmark said it believed, quote, deliberate actions by unknown perpetrators were behind those leaks. Tonight, we're learning new details and seeing new video after yesterday's crash involving NFL star Myles Garrett, a defensive end with the Cleveland Browns. According to NFL insider Tom Pelissero, Garrett swerved to avoid an animal and overcorrected before his Porsche crashed yesterday afternoon. Garrett was released from the hospital last night. His injuries are non-life-threatening. According to the Ohio State Highway Patrol, a passenger in the vehicle also sustained non-life-threatening injuries. Investigators say drug or alcohol use is not believed to be a factor here.
And take a look at this incredible video. You can see a car stuck in the middle of massive flooding in Arizona, of all places. On top, a family of 6, including several kids. This was last week in Maricopa County. A rescue chopper lowered 2 troopers down to help, picking up the baby first, then the other children, and finally the man and woman. Everyone is safe and no one was hurt. Still ahead tonight, why toy companies are changing strategy this holiday season and targeting adults.
Plus, getting ready for one of the biggest Oktoberfest celebrations in Wisconsin. That story up next.
The Volkswagen Taos, German engineering everyone can get into. Visit your Volkswagen dealer today to learn more about the 2022 Taos, starting at $23,495. Limited inventory available.
Ron Johnson and China. Here's how it works. While in the Senate, Johnson made $57 million from a family business whose growth was directly linked to China. He invested in Chinese factories, and Johnson's family business got $50 million in loans from the Bank of China. Johnson pushed for shipping American jobs overseas, while he got rich. Ron Johnson's out for himself, not us. SMP is responsible for the content of this ad.
Welcome. We're so glad you're here. Looking for one of our most capable Ford SUVs? Okay, great. We've got you covered. Spacious interiors, innovative tech, good looks, and a legendary off-road experience. Check out our inventory today, or let us help you place a custom order. Getting into the perfect Ford SUV? Well, it's easier than ever. Yeah, we've got you covered. Now choose FlexBuy on a 2022 Ford Escape, Edge, or Explorer and get 0% financing for 66 months.
When Mark was hit by a distracted driver, he knew to call Hupy and Abraham.
Hupy and Abraham proved to me that they meant business, that they were definitely on my side.
Call a law firm that goes beyond to get you every dollar you deserve.
Call Hupy and Abraham. They mean business.
Call 800-800-5678. Hupy and Abraham. Right now.
There's no fee unless they win your case.
The radical left hate America and riot in our streets. They indoctrinate our children to hate America, stoking fear and envy with their lies and deceptions. Their radical woke agenda and divisive politics are tearing our country apart. Here's Mandela Barnes.
Because the founder of this nation, awful.
Mandela Barnes is a radical leftist. He supports their woke agenda that's causing you and your family so much pain.
I'm Ron Johnson, and I approve this message.
It's a lovely day to...
Cars built with safety in mind, even for those guys. Visit your Volkswagen dealer today to learn more about the spacious 2022 Atlas. Limited inventory available.
The Jennifer Hudson Show is all about connection. And then I could do the TikTok and the talk and the tick and the this and the that. But baby, don't come up with another app, okay? Plus, we've got track superstar Allison Felix
on the next Jennifer Hudson Show at 3. You're watching News 3 Now at 10.
Welcome back. Rolling Stone magazine polling its journalists, actors, producers, and others in show business to come up with the 100 greatest TV shows of all time. Now, the top 5 are some of their all-time favorites: The Sopranos, The Simpsons, Breaking Bad, The Wire, and Fleabag. At the end of the list are Squid Game, Rick and Morty, The Odd Couple, The Good Fight, Oz, and at number 100, What We Do in the Shadows. Toy companies have a new target audience for gifts this holiday season: adults. And we're not just talking about parents buying for their children. A Hasbro executive says the company is pitching collectibles and nostalgic products to adults because they say grown-up shoppers tend to be more invested in the brands they played with as kids. Hasbro expects strong demand for toy brands like Transformers, G.I. Joe, Star Wars, and Marvel. Mattel also hoping to cash in on adults buying toys, particularly Hot Wheels.
The St. Croix Scenic Riverway provides plenty of picturesque views and outdoor adventure along the border of Wisconsin and Minnesota. And now there is a new effort to connect more visitors to everything the area has to offer. Over 1 million visitors a year stop somewhere along the 255 miles of the St. Croix National Scenic Riverway. The Wild Rivers Conservancy is partnering with the Park Service to create a mobile visitor center. They were just awarded a grant from the National Park Foundation to kickstart the project.
The hope is that with a ranger or a volunteer or a Conservancy staff member on the truck, we can share maybe a landing that's close by that's not as busy, or we can encourage them to maybe visit a campsite maybe a little bit further north to give them just a very different experience a little bit further from the Twin Cities.
The big truck or van that will become the mobile visitor center will allow the Conservancy and its volunteers to go to the more than 60 landings in the park and 150 campsites to connect with visitors. The hope is to have the mobile visitor vehicle on the road next summer. La Crosse's Oktoberfest is just a few days away. Thousands of people look forward to this festival every year.
With high traffic and big crowds, Oktoberfest is also an extra busy time for law enforcement. Emily Haugen has the story.
Oktoberfest is a busy time of year.
We are amping up for a great Oktoberfest this year.
For festers and law enforcement.
We're getting ready to go so that we can be there and keep the community safe.
La Crosse police are all hands on deck this weekend and hitting the roads.
Our focus is mainly everything outside of the Oktoberfest grounds and the parades.
Some traveling by car, others by foot.
And we'll just keep going back and forth.
Adam Schmeiser is the co-director of Riverwatch. It's an effort, mostly staffed by college students, to keep people from wandering into the river.
There used to be a lot of drownings in the Mississippi.
Those volunteers pace Riverside Park from 11 at night until 3 in the morning most weekends.
We also make sure that they're in good enough condition to be able to get home.
But this weekend is an even bigger affair as volunteers walk to keep people from drowning.
During Oktoberfest, we'll see probably close to 100 people come down here.
Police say with big events like this, it's important to look out for yourself and others.
We ask that the community is working together, kind of like a neighborhood watch.
Working together to keep festgoers safe.
On-ground security is managed by a private company.
Off-ground help will also be available at the 3rd Street Aid Station. That's at the corner of 3rd and Pearl, if you're familiar with La Crosse. And Oktoberfest kicks off this Thursday.
And here's Julian Seawright with some information on an alert day in the forecast.
That's right, Charlotte. We're going to be talking about the alert days in our forecast, which encompasses tonight, tomorrow morning, and tomorrow night into our Thursday morning. Why? Well, we're looking for areas of frost, which is a bit early for the season for us. It's going to feel a lot like late fall instead of just the normal fall type temperatures for us as we get into the next couple of nights. Temperatures will drop into the mid-30s for many areas in southern Wisconsin. And let's not talk about our friends to the north, because they're already going to be experiencing below freezing temperatures starting tonight. Dane County and areas to the west are going to be the main concerns as they are into the frost advisory. But as you can see that super bright blue on your screen, those are freeze advisories, which are in effect for Juneau, Adams, and for Monroe counties from the same time point, from 12 a.m. to 8 a.m. Those temperatures are going to be dropping into the upper 20s by the time we get into the overnight hours. Now, here's a quick look at our first frost facts. Typically, it's October 1st that we receive receive our first frost here in Madison specifically, but we've had some earlier ones around September 12th back in 1955, and we've had some late ones as well back in 1946 on November 12th, ironically as well. But for tonight, here's a look at our overnight temperatures. We're going to be dropping into the middle 30s here in Madison, and for Janesville, we're looking at 40s. So areas to the east, a bit above the frost development and formation points, but you can see areas just to the west are going to be right in that sweet spot. So that's why we're looking for those areas to be in concern. And then Black River Falls and Camp Douglas are going to be below freezing. That's why we're going to see that freeze advisory for those areas. But let's go ahead and plan out what we're going to be expecting for our Wednesday. Well, it is going to be chilly. As you're heading out the door, make sure you're wearing a coat because it is going to be a cold one. Not much improvement, but a little bit by the time we get into our afternoons. We're going to see our high into the mid-50s. It's going to be very similar to what we had for today. Walking through our Wednesday morning. Temperatures are going to be into the upper 30s. Not a whole lot of breezy conditions, but still just enough wind to keep you rather chilly throughout your morning and even getting into our afternoon. See those temperatures rise into the mid-50s, a couple upper 50s just to the west. But as we get into our Wednesday nights, into our early Thursday morning, it's going to be very similar to what we're experiencing for today. The caveat is that our Thursday afternoon is going to be improving into the 60s. And that's where we're going to start to see some milder temperatures starting Thursday afternoon, heading into our Friday. So three things we'll need to know is that the mild trend is on its way. Just a couple of cool nights or chilly nights. And then on top of the warmer weather, we are going to be looking at temperatures into the upper 60s. And on top of it, back to plenty of sunshine for our weekend, which we haven't had in quite a while because we've had 2 or 8 weekends in a row of stormy-like conditions. This weekend looks to probably beat that trend as long as this forecast holds. That's going to do it for weather, but what's coming up in sports, Jordan?
Well, the season is quickly approaching for the Wisconsin men's hockey team. Badgers held their media day this afternoon, and we're going to hear from the team on their new outlook for this season coming up in sports.
News 3 Now First Warn Weather is brought to you by Lazy Boy Home Furnishings and Decor.
Discover a shopping and design experience as comfortable as the furniture. Lazy Boy Home Furnishings and Decor. Schedule your free design consultation today.
What you see is important. That makes quality eye care important too. Get personalized care from experienced optometrists at Shopko Optical. Better eye care. You'll see. Shopko Optical welcomes more insurance plans than ever. Call to book an exam and verify coverage.
Brothers Maine has been family-owned since 1938. Some of us were born into this family, and others chose to join through the years. And we know you can't replace family, but you can replace appliances, and Brothers Maine is here for you when one breaks down. Our in-house team has delivered ranges to washers to refrigerators to hectic households in a pinch, oftentimes the next day. Just because an appliance breaks down doesn't mean you have to. We're not big box. We're Brothers Maine, and we want you to feel like family here.
Chevy Silverado. It's got the power you want and the capability you need to do the job so you can get to the important work. Find new moments, find new roads. Get a $500 cash allowance on all 2022 Silverado pickups with a 2.7-liter turbo engine. Plus, now during truck season, get a $1,000 accessory allowance toward a new Chevy truck with accessories. Find new roads at your local Chevy dealer.
Mass shootings, school shootings, and violent crime are on the rise, and Ron Johnson is making things worse. He abandoned law enforcement, voting against funding for the police, preventing local departments from hiring more officers, but supported flooding our streets with guns and making it easier for violent criminals and domestic abusers to get them. Ron Johnson is failing to keep us safe. Every Town for Gun Safety Victory Fund is responsible for the content of this ad.
Did you know luxury hair repair doesn't have to cost $50? This Pro Vitamin formula repairs by building new bonds for softness and resilience. If you know it's Pantene.
Listen, I'm done settling because this is my secret.
I put it on once, no more touch-up. Secret has pH-balancing minerals, and it helps eliminate odor instead of just masking it. So pull it in close. Secret works.
What you see is important. How you see is important too. Get personalized care from experienced optometrists at Shopko Optical. Better eye care. You'll see. Right now, get 40% off lenses with the purchase of any frames. Shopko Optical.
The Wisconsin men's hockey team is a couple practices into their season, and they get a real taste of action on Sunday when they host Lakehead in an exhibition game at the Kohl Center. Well, after how last season ended, losing 11 of their final 13 games, the guys are skating a little different this year. Their big focus, competing hard every practice, every game, and every shift. And so far, it's been a great start.
That's the biggest thing is our work ethic, and our compete level has been top-notch, probably the highest I've seen in 5 years here. So it's been a great start, and now the goal is to keep that going.
With the returners and with the kids we have coming in to help us, we think we're in a really good position to have whether it's a bounce back year, whether it's just a good solid, Big Ten year, whether it's a Badger year, it doesn't matter. I think we're in a really good position to have some exciting hockey.
Badger women's hockey is coming off a split of Penn State. The latest poll from USA Today and USA Hockey have Wisconsin ranked 4th. Sitting ahead of them are Ohio State, Minnesota, and Northeastern. UW's home opener is set for Thursday, where they're going to host Lindenwood for 2. Final homestand of the regular season for the Brewers, and they kick it off with a 2-game series with the Cardinals tonight. Pretty disastrous for the Crew. 6 runs given up before they can get themselves on the scoreboard. Rowdy Tellez crushes his team-leading 34th homer in the 6th inning for the first run, but it's not enough. The Brewers fall 6-2 and will try for a split tomorrow. One of the big question marks coming into the season, who would be Aaron Rodgers' go-to wide receiver? Well, number 12 has been sharing the wealth through the first 3 games of the season, each time a different player leading that stat. Well, Sunday, it was rookie Romeo Doubs. He hauled in the Pack's first touchdown and ended the day with 8 receptions for over 70 yards. And Rodgers, well, he's loving every minute of it.
Well, funny enough, I went to him before the game and I said, great day to catch your first touchdown today, I think. And he kind of smiled, and sure enough, there's a lot of things I love about Romeo, but it's just his approach. He's very steady. He asks a lot of good questions. He's sharp when you quiz him in a meeting, cares about it. And the best thing is he catches the ball with his hands.
The Badgers are back home this weekend hosting Illinois, which means it's a homecoming for Illini head coach Brett Bielema. He returns to Camp Randall for the first time since leaving Wisconsin's program. Bielema served as head coach from 2006 to 2012, and it's hard to forget the success he had during his reign. 3 straight Big Ten championships with 6 straight bowl game appearances. That included 3 consecutive Rose Bowls. He then went on to coach at Arkansas, then in the NFL before he landed with Illinois last season.
Proud of what those teams were able to accomplish. And, as far as working, I enjoyed working with them. And so, you look back and you're appreciative of it. What he's done there in a year and a half, it's 2 years. It's impressive. It's a good football team.
The Badgers and Illini kick off at 11 this Saturday. Zach and Jim Polzien will have much more on the game, Bielema's return, and what happened at Ohio State on this week's Badger Blueprint. That'll air tomorrow night during News 3 Now at 10. We'll be right back.
Did you know Tim Michaels said people shouldn't be openly gay in public?
But I think when you bring it out of your house and onto the public street, that's where I differ.
Is that the kind of divisive radical you want as your governor?
With Pick and Save Fresh Perks, it's easy to get lower than low prices for the win. You also earn fuel points on every purchase to save big at the pump. Pick and Save Fresh Perks. All you do is win big, big savings. Pick and Save. Fresh for everyone.
Welcome to Hollywood. What's your dream?
Get tickets today at overture.org.
New Salon Pass Lidocaine Flex, a super thin, flexible patch with maximum OTC strength lidocaine that contours to the body to relieve pain right where it hurts. And did we mention it really, really sticks? Salon Pass, it's good medicine.
To everyone who loves great food, let us make you a meal the Wisconsin way.
We cook each butter burger to order for you and the people you love, so it's the best part of your day.
The best.
The best.
And every creamy scoop of fresh frozen custard, pure happiness.
Pure happiness.
Pure happiness. Because where Culver's comes from.
And the heart of America's Dairyland.
Our love.
Our love for fresh food is as strong as our love for all of you.
From Wisconsin with love.
Welcome to Delicious.
New in 2022, with the Eye Care Benefit Card, members have access to even more. In addition to receiving up to $1,200 per year in over-the-counter health items, members get a $50 monthly allowance for healthy food purchases and can earn rewards for completing healthy activities like getting a flu shot. Call the Eye Care Benefits Helpline for a free consultation to get all the benefits you're entitled to. Rest easy. Eye Care is looking out for you and your health.
Dear road rivals, every new Toyota comes with Toyota Care, our no-cost maintenance plan that covers tire rotations, engine oil changes, fluid adjustments, and more for 2 years or 25,000 miles. Nissan charges extra for maintenance. And you guessed it, Ford charges extra for maintenance. At Toyota, we take care of our drivers. Too bad none of our rivals do the same. Join us, Toyota. Toyota, let's go places.
With the Pick and Save app, no matter where you order free pickup, you get the same great deals as you'd get in our stores. So start your cart today. Wherever. Pick and Save, fresh for everyone.
Did you know Tim Michaels wants to criminalize abortion, even for pregnant rape victims?
But are you willing to support exceptions for rape or incest?
That's correct.
Is that the kind of divisive radical you want as your governor?
Help us collect kids' winter coats during Coats for Kids.
You're watching News 3 Now at 10.
And Julian's back with a final check of your forecast.
Well, aside from a couple chilly nights, we are having a frost advisory, folks, which has prompted our alert day for tonight into tomorrow night and our Thursday morning as well. But the good news is we will start to warm back up to some milder temperatures by the back end of this work week, especially heading into the weekend. And if our forecast holds up, cross your fingers, folks, we are looking at plenty of sunshine for the first weekend in about 8 weekends where we've seen storms. This time, sunshine and upper 60s. Gotta love it.
8 weekends.
8 weekends. It has been a very soggy last 8 weeks.
We'll live it up this weekend.
Yep.
All right. That's going to do it for us. Do something good, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.